nowadays there is a lot of emphasis on podcasts. Everybody is getting into podcasts, especially in India. The trend is booming like anything, right? So, why do you think podcasts are such a powerful tool for business owners, and how can they stand out in this crowded space? It is getting extremely crowded. It is not easy to really shine in this space.
I love that question. So, podcasts, I think, are interesting because they hit some of the goals that business owners are trying to achieve, but meeting people where they are. So, in media and just in business, you talk about meeting customers where they are, right? You meeting people where they are. So, podcasting, it's a different experience, right? A lot of people listen to podcasts in the car, on a walk, walking their dog. So, like, it's a different experience than maybe somebody would be watching social media videos. Also, short form videos are way more popular. And podcasts, I think the average podcast right now is 30 minutes. So again, you're talking about reaching people, but in a different way, with a different message, building a different sort of connection. So I think in terms of podcasts being crowded, it's like, so what? Everything's crowded. Everything's crowded. So I think it's more about identifying your goals and saying, can I hit my goals with this podcast, and not being so married to the numbers? So for example, I have one client, she's a healthcare consultant, and I helped her and her team of consultants in healthcare launch a podcast. A podcast, of course, has the video element as well. And we were putting all these videos on LinkedIn, right? So we have videos on LinkedIn, videos on YouTube, podcasts in your ears. And in addition to building relationships and getting listeners in the industry, it has allowed one of those consultants to build their speaking. So she's now being invited to moderate conferences, be on stages, really grow as a thought leader. So I
Wow.
think when people are thinking about podcasts and say, oh, it's so crowded. Okay. Are people in your niche listening? Can you be seen as a thought leader in your niche through a podcast? You have to really think it has so many, many benefits. You do have to sit down and say, what are my goals? And does the time constraints, like obviously takes time to produce a podcast. So you have to say, do I have the time, the bandwidth, the money to produce and launch this podcast and keep it up? But if it aligns with your goals, definitely don't shy away because it's too crowded. I think it's something like 90% of podcasts don't last past the first 3 months. So even if you're saying, oh, there's 4 million podcasts or whatever the number is, millions and millions of podcasts, what's the point? So many of those are dormant, right? So many of those don't make it past month 3. So it's like saying, oh, I'm not going to go on social media because there's so many people on social media. Actually, it's a better reason to be on it. So many people are there.